Today, let's delve into the astonishing true identity of Seraphim and speculate about its future. Seraphim has indeed stirred a myriad of theories and debates among fans, hasn't it? The revelation that Navy scientist Vegapunk was involved in its development is nothing short of shocking. And who isn't intrigued by what role Seraphim will play in the story moving forward? I hope this information helps deepen your understanding of the narrative and offers a fresh perspective. By the way, if you find our analysis interesting, don't forget to hit that like button. And please, remember to subscribe to the channel. Do you think Seraphim, gaining self-awareness, contains foreshadowing of betraying of the world government? Or perhaps a completely different future awaits? If you have your own theories or alternative analysis, please share them in the comments. Note that this video contains spoilers up to the most recent episodes, so proceed with caution. Now, let's dive right in. Seraphim, developed by Navy scientist Vegapunk, is a new type of pacifista revealed in episode 1059, after the conclusion of the Wano Country arc. Moreover, with the abolition of the warlord system at the Reverie, the balance among the three great powers, the Navy headquarters, the warlords, and the four emperors, has been disrupted. Seraphim is anticipated by the Navy headquarters to be a new force replacing the warlords and is expected to pose an even greater threat to pirates than the traditional pacifista. In this session, let's explore how the Seraphim was developed using various technologies and what kind of role it will play moving forward. First, one of the technologies believed to be utilized in Seraphim is clone technology. So essentially, Seraphim is a clone. But before we delve into speculating about Seraphim and clone technology, what exactly is a clone? In the real world, a clone refers to a person born through asexual reproduction from certain genes. Therefore, they possess exactly the same genes as the person who provided them. To create a human clone, the nucleus is removed from a woman's egg and replaced with another nucleus extracted from a somatic cell of another human, forming a clone embryo. Once this clone embryo is returned to the woman's uterus and implants, it grows and becomes a human clone. To summarize, a human clone is a person with exactly the same genes as the person who provided them, and, excluding this aspect, can be considered no different from a regular human. The clone technology in the world of OnePiece is also thought to be largely the same, and there are 6 main pieces of evidence that Seraphim is a clone. First, it can grow. Second, it has a heartbeat. Third, it's referred to as mankind. Fourth, it has a personality. Fifth, it has emotions. And lastly, 6, it has individuality. Let's look at each one in turn. Starting with the first point, it can grow. Whoa, that was close. Seraphim is still a child. The laser experiment is still ahead. Vegapunk Edison. From Vegapunk Edison's statement in episode 1065 that Seraphim is still a child, we can deduce that Seraphim will eventually grow into an adult. It's still a child. How terrifying it will be in the future. Stussy. Moreover, Stussy's remarks in episode 1070 also reveal that Seraphim will grow into an adult just like a regular human. Next, the second piece of evidence is that Seraphim has a heartbeat. Approach to disorders due to accelerated growth rate, increase in green blood from BPM 90, Vegapunk Pythagoras. From Vegapunk Pythagoras' statement in episode 1065, we learn that Seraphim has a heartbeat, something robots do not have. The third piece of evidence is that Vegapunk refers to Seraphim as mankind. Seraphim is the pinnacle of science I can think of. In the history of this sea, it can be said to be the strongest mankind. Vegapunk. In episode 1070, Vegapunk refers to Seraphim as mankind. Since Vegapunk, the creator Seraphim, calls it mankind, it can be almost certain that Seraphim is human. Next, the fourth piece of evidence is that Seraphim has a personality. Oh, thank you, kind Hancock. Jinbei. Rude. I'm just following orders. S-Snake. From the exchange between Jinbei and S-Snake in episode 1070, we can see that S-Snake has a shy personality, similar to Chopper. The fifth piece of evidence concerns Seraphim having emotions. Seraphim's facial expressions change according to the situation, indicating it has emotions. Moreover, S-Snake blushing when thanked by Jinbei also indicates that it has emotions. Lastly, the sixth piece of evidence is that Seraphim has individuality. In episode 1073, there is a panel depicting 4 Seraphims and Zoro. In this panel, S-Snake has its hand on its hips. S-Hawk has one hand on its sword. S-Shark has its arms crossed. The different stances of the Seraphim indicate individuality. From all of this, we can determine that Seraphim is not a robot like the traditional pacifista, but a human. Therefore, it can be said that Seraphim is a clone, a human created. And while we speculated that Seraphim is a clone, what is the difference between it and Stussy, who is also a clone? To get straight to the point, it comes down to the purpose for which they were created. Stussy is the first successful case in the clone experiment. The birth of Stussy represents the completion of human clone technology. Therefore, the purpose of creating Stussy was to experiment with applying clone technologies to human. Using the clone technology established through Stussy's birth and other means, Seraphim was created with the purpose of being a weapon. Next, let's talk about the genetic lineage that forms the basis for Seraphim. Up until now, we've discussed the fact that Seraphim is a clone, and clones have original genes. Life isn't being created out of nothing. So, who exactly is a human that forms the basis for Seraphim? As apparent from their appearance, it's the Lunaria tribe and the Warlords. In other words, we believe that Seraphim is a clone created by combining the genetic factors of the Lunaria tribe and the Warlords. There are two main reasons for this. The first is the match in physical characteristics. The second is experiences recorded in genetic lineage. Let's examine each of these. First, regarding the match in physical characteristics, it was strange. One of them looks just like my sister when she was a child, Thunder Sonia and Marigold. As can be gleaned from the lines of either Thunder Sonia or Marigold in episode 1059, the appearance of the Seraphim is identical to the Warlords during their childhood. Indeed, the fact that the two individuals who are familiar with Hancock's childhood are surprised by the similarity suggests a striking resemblance. Moreover, Seraphim has black wings, white hair, dark skin, and is constantly emitting flames from its back. In this manner, it embodies all the characteristics of the extinct Lunaria tribe. Consequently, Seraphim possesses both the childhood appearances of the Warlords and the physical characteristics of the Lunaria tribe. Given this, wouldn't it be reasonable to say that Seraphim is a clone created by combining the genetic factors of the Lunaria tribe and the Warlords? Next, regarding the second reason, which is experiences recorded in the genetic lineage. Is experience indeed recorded in the genetic lineage? Pythagoras. The statement made by Vegapunk Pythagoras in episode 1065 suggests that it's highly possible experiences are recorded in the genetic lineage. And while S-Shark uses Fishman karate and S-Hawk uses swordsmanship, it's unlikely that Egghead would have had a master to teach Fishman karate to begin with. So why can Seraphim use Fishman karate and swordsmanship? It's because the experiences of Jinbei and Mihawk are recorded in their genetic lineage. Therefore, it's possible they can use Fishman karate and swordsmanship. This implies that Seraphim possesses the genetic lineage of the Warlords. Seraphim holds two sets of genetic lineage. The robust Lunaria tribe, who has among the strongest combat abilities in Vegapunk's research subjects, and the Warlords. They are clone humans created as a weapon to produce the strongest of mankind. So far, we have explored the notion that Seraphim is a clone created using genetic material from the Lunaria tribe and the Warlords of the Sea. There are also other characteristics, such as the presence of an authority chip, limited cognitive abilities, and laser attacks, which are not found in humans. But what kind of technology is used for these? First, regarding the authority chip and limited cognitive abilities, I suspect technology similar to BMI devices in the real world might be used. BMI devices can read signals such as brainwaves to operate computers and can also send stimuli directly to nerves without using sensory organs. They also include devices on extremely small chips embedded in the human brain, which can provide human experiences like sight and taste. Embedding this chip in the brain seems to be somewhat akin to replacing a part of the skull with a smartwatch. Even the five elders can't transponder snail, Stussy. From Stussy's statement in episode 1069, we learn that the authority chip is not affected by the transponder snail, and one must be somewhat close to Seraphim to command it. This may be due to the chip embedded in Seraphim, which requires a certain proximity to recognize live voice input. Moreover, the necessity of a live voice for commanding Seraphim might be used to prevent others from using recorded voices to issue commands. As explored earlier, Seraphim is a clone. Thus, it would inherently possess cognitive abilities and motion since it is human. Seraphim is equipped with a personality that allows it to make slight autonomous decisions based on the battle situation. Vegapunk Shaka. However, from Vegapunk Shaka's statement in episode 1072, we can deduce that Seraphim does not possess a complete personality. I believe this is also due to a chip, similar to the authority chip. As Shaka says, based on the battle situation, Seraphim, being a weapon, does not require cognitive abilities beyond necessity. Therefore, it is likely that thinking abilities and emotions are controlled by a chip embedded in the brain. As for the lasers, it is not only robots like Pacifista, but also humans like Frankie that can be equipped with it. Thus, Seraphim's characteristics, such as having an authority chip, reduces cognitive abilities, and laser attacks are made possible by embedding a chip in the brain and cellularizing parts of the body. Therefore, it can be said that Seraphim is an existence that has cyborged a clone. Next, we will explore the abilities of Seraphim versions of the early warlords of the sea, Doflamingo, Moria, and Crocodile, who have not yet appeared. But before that, I want to explain the technology Green Blood, which allows Seraphim to use the powers of devil fruits. Green blood is a special blood generated from the genetic material of superhuman ability users and can bestow abilities upon administration. It is vital to note that green blood is specifically related to superhuman abilities. Thus, Doflamingo's String fruit and Moria's Shadow fruit, being superhuman abilities, can be replicated. Therefore, the abilities of Seraphim created with Doflamingo and Moria's genetic material are likely the same as the original person's, similar to S-Snake with the Love fruit. On the other hand, Crocodile's Sand fruit is a natural ability and cannot be replicated, so it would have a different ability. When considering the ability of Seraphim created with Crocodile's genetic material, there is a reference ability. That is the ability of S-Shark and S-Hawk, created using genetic material from Jinbei, a non-ability user, and Fishman, and Mihawk, a swordsman. The ability of S-Shark, created using Jinbei's genetic materials, is the Swim fruit, which specializes in swimming. The ability of S-Hawk, created using Mihawk's genetic material, is the Slice fruit, which specializes in cutting. Thus, abilities that are well matched to the original human characteristics and enhanced combat abilities have been utilized. When we think of Crocodile, we think of a combat style that involves turning his own body into sand and manipulating that sand. Therefore, under the condition that the ability should utilize experiences recorded in the genetic material, I will infer from abilities possessed by subjects of Vegapunk's research. Thus, it can be surmised that the ability of Seraphim created with Crocodile's genetic material is the Wax fruit. Mr. 3, or Galdino, a user of the Wax fruit, uses an ability to produce wax from his body and manipulates it in actual combat. Therefore, wouldn't it enable a fighting style similar to the Sand fruit? Finally, let's speculate about the future of Seraphim. To cut to the chase, I think Seraphim will betray the world government. There are three main reasons for this. First, the two works that appear to be the inspiration for Seraphim. Second, Stussy's betrayal. And third, experiences recorded in genetic material. Let's look at each in turn. The first reason involves two works that seem to serve as homages in the dialogue of Seraphim. These two works are the manga, Green Blood, and the movie, Blade Runner. Let me briefly explain each. First, regarding Green Blood. Green Blood is a sci-fi manga drawn by Yoshihiro Shibata in the 1980s. The protagonists, Leva and others, were slaves of Green Blood, having green blood, who were forced into labor. As the story progresses, it is revealed that they are not humans, but organic androids. Green Blood was created to be unable to rebel against humans. However, as the story unfolds, they begin to take rebellious attitudes and develop a sense of camaraderie, friendship, love, and emotions. It leads the plot to evolve into a battle between Green Blood and humans. In the story, Green Blood is presented as the last masterpiece of humanity created by the 22nd century scientific civilization. This aligns quite well with Vegapunk calling Seraphim the strongest humanity in the history of the sea. Next, regarding Blade Runner. Blade Runner is a sci-fi movie released around the same time as Green Blood. In the world of Blade Runner, androids with advanced intelligence, called replicants, were created to work on new planets. These replicants were endowed with self-awareness, but had a lifespan of only 4 years and were made to be unable to defy humans. However, a few years after their creation, the replicants start to defy human orders. The movie then depicts the battle between humans and these self-aware replicants. Thus, a common thread is in these two works, which I believe serve as the homage source for Seraphim. Androids created by humans and initially capable only of obeying humans, eventually rebel against the humans exploiting them. I think this concept is being applied in the world of OnePiece. Seraphim, made to obey orders via the authority chip, may weaken this compulsory power through growth and betray the world government that commands them. It can be inferred. Next, the second reason involves Stussy's betrayal. Stussy and Seraphim share common points, such as being masterpieces of Vegapunk at the time, being cloned humans, and being pawns of the government. And Stussy, when Vegapunk was in a tight spot, betrayed the world government and helped Vegapunk at his request. From this, it can also be inferred that Seraphim might betray the world government and support opposing forces when those forces are in a predicament. Lastly, let's dive into the third reason, focusing on the experiences recorded in genetic material. Indeed, are experiences recorded in genetic material? Vegapunk Pythagoras. From episode 1065, and Vegapunk Pythagoras' statement, it is highly plausible that experiences are recorded in genetic material. And S-Snake, which originates from Hancock, has memories of the painful experience of being a slave to the celestial dragons. Hancock was abducted at the age of 12 and lived as a slave to the celestial dragons for approximately 4 years. The slave mark engraved at that time still symbolizes Hancock's trauma, and she continues to harbor hatred towards the celestial dragons even now. And S-Bear, which originates from Kuma, is famously anti-world government, and is also one of the founding members who established the Revolutionary Army alongside Ivankov and Dragon. If S-Snake and S-Bear inherited the experiences of Hancock and Kuma, respectively, they might harbor negative feelings towards the world government. In other words, they might not want to obey the world government, but cannot defy orders due to the authority chip. Therefore, it's conceivable that if the control exerted by the authority chip weakens, they might betray the world government. In conclusion, let's summarize the 3 reasons why Seraphim might betray the world government. The compulsory power of the authority chip might weaken as Seraphim grows, and they might betray the world government when the forces opposing the world government are in a predicament. Moreover, they might lend their support to the opposing forces. Finally, let's summarize the considerations about Seraphim that we've explored so far. Firstly, Seraphim are clones created from the genetic materials of the robust Lunaria tribe and the warlords of the sea, who possess top-class strength among pirates. These clones have chips embedded in their brain that influence their thoughts, lasers equipped like pacifistas in Frankie. And they also have the green blood technology that grants devil fruit abilities, constituting a cellularized existence through these 3 technologies. And in the future, I believe that Seraphim will betray the world government as the restraining power weakens with their growth, especially when the forces opposing the world government are in a crisis, and they will lend their support to the opposing forces. So I've been considering it like this. What do you all think? That's all for today. This channel posts summaries, explanations, and ranking videos related to One Piece. If you like One Piece, we would be happy if you could support us by subscribing to our channel and commenting. Thank you for watching to the end. See you in the next video.